Hey, it's Dr. Deal with 5 reasons why you may experience complex grief after having multiple deaths in your family. They always say death comes in threes, and sometimes that happens in families, and that has got to be overwhelming. And that leads me to number one. You have to process multiple deaths at one time, which means that it's going to be hard to grieve one, because then while you're trying to grieve one, here comes another, and then here comes another. So you're just all over the place with loss. And that leads me to number two. You feel like you're being left alone in the world. No family members are leaving. And I always say it feels like an orphan when you lose your parents. So imagine you losing multiple family members, around the same time has got to feel lonely and isolated and sad. And that leads me to number three. You feel hopeless. Like there's some depression, some sadness. You're like, what is my future going to look like? I've lost all these family members, and there's this big void in my family after this. And that leads me to number four. You may experience long, intense feelings of loss. That's why it's complex. So that loneliness, that long, intense feeling of loss may last a lot longer. And I always say grief never goes away. It just becomes doable. So complex grief is going to be a little more complex, as the name says. And that leads me to number five. You may have a harder time moving on, because again, you're trying to process multiple griefs, multiple losses at around the same time, and that's going to take some time. Give yourself grace. Praying for anybody who is going through this right now, where you've lost multiple people at the same time. If you're struggling, please seek a therapist so they can help you maneuver through your grief. Praying for everybody who has lost anybody.